too long.
But,
Why?
yeah.
Big buddy. Ew.
Engineering. Seems very natural for you.
Okay.
Good for you.
Yeah, let's see.
For you.
Chris, how we doing?
I hit start on the stream, so don't say anything or do anything too embarrassing.
Okay.
What happened?
So both Marco and Mo are gonna use my machine. He pointed out that F11 will in fact make it totally full screen instead of having the menu bar at the top.
Great.
Other than that, they're both doing speaker notes, so it's set up to not mirror.
Great.
And I'm not sure what Dylan's up to, but he's going today, right? He's swapped.
That's right, he swapped with Kale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Great.
anyways,
Thanks, man.
okay.
Is everyone okay? Congrats, man.
No, my mom's watching,
So I was binge watching,
I gave them the choice, either come in and watch or put on banner.
So they set up a fake courtroom and a fake case, and they had 2,400 people apply to be a juror on the get documents to document out the jury system. Which of course would be perfect, because you have Karen's all over the place. So everything was fake. Lawyers were fake, although they had law backgrounds. That the judge was a lawyer who also been an actor, so he represented himself well as a judge. He looked totally legit. And even James Marsden was in there as if he was called the jury too, because he was kind of an asshole. This is too bad for himself. But so they found this really nice, honest guy, and they ran through all these weird scenarios. Things get crazier and crazier and crazier. And all the whole while they can't see the throne. You know, he sort of steps up and does the right thing. So it's kind of a heartwarming reality show, which is unusual, right? Which is more like embarrassing. But yeah, it's pretty good actually. So I thought of you a little bit because you could have been judged at that one.
What's it called, jury?
It's just jury duty, and what's weird is it's not. It's on Freevee, which is Freevee is free. I think it used to be IMDb Movies, and it's owned now by Amazon. So that's their free with commercials offshoot. So it's surprising it's up front. It's surprising it's on there because you think it could have found a place in the
How are you? Great.
Watch this stuff.
You see these shoes they actually match?
Wow.
Want to make fun of them for the sneaks?
Usually they do that. It's just
I
not the
know.
one time that they did it.
I am tough. I'm a tough critic, but for a reason, right? They love it.
Great about your shoes too.
Well, it's part of it. Morning, everyone. Morning. Margaret, you're gonna be great. No,
Okay.
Positive self-talk, slow down. I tried that. Enunciate and don't be nervous.
Project tomorrow.
I told her not to do it. It's perfect.
Yeah.
It was great. I like it. It was perfect.
Yes, and so I can run one now. I have an outdoor mini cable that I built. I've used a few times. Where's the to the sound system?
Yeah, wherever we were streaming United States with
You know
South.
that.
The thing she does kind of
What's the worst they could possibly
So,
do?
I might say drops.
So, Well, 12 after today. I'm giving you guys 8 after doing today.
Ultimately, sorry, you do a great job.
Just be calm, you're doing great. Positive self-talk. You got this. No nerves. Okay. Just slow down. Take a breath. You know how scared Lacey was, and what she did, she had her water bottle, and she would slow, like she would slow. How did I take a sip of water to kind of ease the nerves? That's why I did. And then you first made me cry.
Just talk to her. Just talk about one person you're comfortable with. You just pick one person that you're comfortable speaking to and look at them. And if
That's a
you're-
good tip. I liked it. I mean, you didn't know.
I just did, but I just speak in front of a big audience.
Over here.
It's just people that you know.
Yeah, maybe Haley and Lucy, if you sat in the front row. Oh, yeah. Help.
It's
Margot.
not, only make it a lot.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Maybe she looks at you guys, because
contact with people so they can.
We'll go over.
So everything, Dylan will probably be here at 8, not 8.
Like, it's the actually doing a project. You got anything for days and days. Right? I was
Wanna play my game?
late last night doing synthesis of literature for my dissertation because that came back
You
as
wanna play
it's not passed yet, so I was just, process. Still learning my practice highs. How about you? Yeah. I wanted to.
Either selling religion or
Right.
Or are they one of the same?
So we have Mohammed, Margot, and
Dylan Johnson.
Golden it.
Dylan.
That was a switch, it was Matt, but they had to for conflict.
Just do these walked in. You're not nervous.
Hey, you don't have Is it Amy Langdon?
I see.
Is it Amy Langdon?
That's next Tuesday.
I don't teach it.
It's next Tuesday. There's no exam.
You guys, you understand the English exam tomorrow, if you took it on a real day. Doesn't hurt here. Like my shoes? Usually they come with that, like, if it's a snack, okay, right, I have a meat time. You look sharp, take that. Hey, guys. I have a hot pink silk jumpsuit that I wore for my graduation. Team. That's good. Hi, Josie. Give a little. You did that? Haley did my dinner. You can hear this and tell me. So what I'm gonna do is, when I was home, I know. What is really You're just like, and then walk away.
Why?
It might not be. I don't think
Actually,
it's-
never mind. I have a block like this. She just used to block me what like was, but just no.
Peter and James, right here.
No.
What about 6?
Okay.
And then
Great try.
Well, but that's for like.
This would definitely work. I think it's what's.
Literally. You got me something for my class.
what is that? Probably called her. I inspired. Like what can I do?
Where's Karen? Good?
Yeah.
Thank you. It's exciting. Well, we in our little. Wait. Yeah.
I say golf, yeah.
Caleb, you're today, right? The guy's back there.
Wait,
I can get here. I flew.
No, but seriously.
My mother. And she left. You know, you can get like everybody. What? Maybe you can get like everybody together. And you will hear mom.
What?
Yeah. Nobody else can get like everybody's
I think a good part, like, down by
I did, and I also think that part up there because it's not. I know. And it's not.
It is so long down there. Okay, I'm telling you not to park. I had to say you can park down.
So happy they were.
No, I said you have my phone. I was like,
We're in there, don't wait.
Alright, I'm here. Isa. Good morning. Decker. Dan. Cam. No Cam. Haley. Tessa. Emerson.
Thank you.
Sorry, here. Ohana. Lily. Mohammed. Dylan. Yuna. Dylan, did you need anything for the presentation?
Try right now, it's just.
Okay, Lacey. Mia.
Here.
Margot. US. Jordan.
Out.
Oh, yeah. Lucy.
Here.
Brianna. Josie. Whoever.
Hey Rob, we're gonna wait till the 5, cause there's some kids coming in from the other advisory, so I'll just interrupt otherwise. Yeah, please wait. Or if you want, if you guys want to sit in front, that's fine. Wherever you would like.
Hey, got me seniors for a minute, can I just borrow your
attention. I am going to be doing something for admissions where I'm making a compilation of video clips of you guys. Oh, sorry, no. Right, so if it's okay with you, I'd like to have your permission to film you. I'm just gonna ask you a few questions, and then I'm gonna kind of like edit it and chop it all up and put it all together. So for example, what is your favorite memory of Maui Prep? And then you guys say in a few words what it is, right? Or what's one thing that stands out to you about your experience of Maui Prep? And then you say it, and then I kind of will mush them all together and hopefully, skillfully, maybe I'll need someone's help to do this, but put it on our website as something to take away. I'd also like to ask you a few questions for internal use, basically for us to see basically like an exit interview of what can we do better? What would you like to see in the future? What can other students benefit from so that we get a real authentic answer? Okay, and no holds barred, it's just for me, okay? Thank you, at some point, maybe, at some point.
All right. You ready, Momo? Yeah, here we go. All right, Mohammed Jobran, everyone. Good morning. We good, John James?
All right, so hi everyone. If you guys don't know me, I'm Mohammed. Most of you should know me. And my presentation was on the importance of an early STEM education throughout middle school and high school. First, I'm going to be going over my driving question and why I decided to pick that for my driving question. Next, I'm going to go over the research I did at my internship. Next, I'll go over the product or what I decided to do after this internship. After this paper, and fourth, my future plans. So first, my driving question. How do strong STEM programs in middle school and high school affect the number of students pursuing careers within STEM? I chose to pick this as my driving question as 6 years ago, I started out in a STEM program in my old middle school, and if it wasn't for that STEM program, I wouldn't be engineering in mechanical engineering next year at UH, and it really set me up for my life. It really broadened my horizons and everything that I'm interested in. Next, my research and my internship. So throughout my research, I found out that middle school and high school is the most crucial part of a student's life. That's when they grasp onto most subjects and most things and choose something to pursue within their future. And many students ranging from grades 6 through 11 who are exposed to STEM are actually more likely to go into a STEM field than other students who weren't exposed to STEM programs. In my research, I also, while this may be a given, not many people realize how important STEM is to society. As like the room we're standing in now, it was created through science, technology, engineering, and math. Like the walls were engineered, the lights, the amount of electricity going through the lights had to be calculated to know how much electricity was needed for the room. The computer I'm displaying on is technology, the TV, basically everything around us used STEM in some way or another. Next, my internship. So if you look at the top right, or your top left, sorry. If you look at the top left, that's my mentor, Miss Lori Koyama. She actually 6 years ago made me join a STEM program at LAS, and if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be where I am today. And she kind of opened my horizons and just kind of showed me everything that I could do. And if you look at this photo on the right, this is actually some of the students that I got to intern with and mentor. And this is them from last year. They're at a conference called STEM Conference in Oahu. And I actually went to a couple of those conferences when I was in middle school, and these were the badges that we got. And you go around, you meet new people, you learn new things, and every booth you go to, you kind of get like a banner to add to your name tag. And I was able to connect with new people. I was able to meet the actual governor at the time, David Ige, through this, and it was just a really fun experience. While on my internship, I noticed many students trying to 3D design, And me, I love to 3D design. Since I was in 6th grade, I began 3D designing, and the software that I noticed a couple students using was Tinkercad. If you don't know, CAD is computer-aided design. And when I noticed the students using it, I decided to go and help them and show them, show them how I know how to do it, because I've been using it for around 6 years now, so I know some ways around. Next, this is still my internship. Why I decided to choose this for my internship. So another reason I decided to choose this for my internship, as I said, I was in this program 6 years ago, 6, 5, and 4 years ago. This is actually me recording a video that actually ended up on TV. I can show you guys a 30-second clip of that. And then that's me showing a student how to use a 3D pen. And it was, yeah, I look really young, it's just. And then this is the video that I actually made. It aired on PBS in 2019.
Minnesota Hina Intermediate School introduced us to a CrossFit instructor who helps people find their mojo. This is Janelle Medusa. She created the Kids Bees of the Thrive CrossFit program.
Imani is going to the mountains.
She was born in Rockford, Illinois.
Believe it or not, that is my voice. Yes, that is me. But that was 5 years ago. So yeah, as I said, through the STEM program, I was able to film more and more videos, and while making that video, I was able to meet with a group of editors from PBS, and they showed me how to edit down the video and refine it more, and I actually got to work with some of the students in my internship and help them refine their videos and edit their videos down to be more fluid and more refined. Next, what I decided to do from this internship and research, like my product. So, as I said, I was helping a lot of students with computer-aided design with Tinkercad. So I decided to go back and look at a couple of my designs and even make a new design and improve on one of my old designs. So when I was in around 7th grade, one of my teachers came up to me with a problem. She wanted a bathroom pass. And I just made, originally, it was just this block, nothing on the top. And it had the words and everything. And I was just thinking, what can I do to improve this? So I added the little piece right here, and I added a hole to connect the lanyard onto. And I kind of improved on this design for a reason that I know Ms. Jerome actually uses bathroom passes here. So this could be useful here, could not be useful here. It just depends on the teacher. And then if you look at your bottom left, that's a design from when I went to a STEM conference. And I just thought it'd be important to show that off because at that STEM conference, there's competitions and things like that. And I was able to design something like that. And I was able to show it to those students and tell them like how to design things like this. And it's actually based off of a contest we did for environmental sustainability. So something most people were thinking of like water filters, things like that. My group, we decided on toothpaste bottles. Many of them are thrown away every day. Hundreds of them are thrown away every day. So we're like, you know what? Let's make something where you can send it off, it gets refilled with toothpaste and sent back to you, and it holds a lot of toothpaste. So that's what we made. And then I decided to, as a final thing, I decided to sit down and make my own design for something else. So this is a mount for a access port tuner for my car. Right now it's just dangling all over the place, but this mount allows it to sit in one of my AC vents instead of having it just dangling. And haven't been able to 3D print it yet, but I took measurements and everything, and it should fit, it should work. So yeah, I'm proud of it because it took a long time to make that. Next, my future plans. So I recently committed to UH Manoa, and I decided to pursue mechanical engineering at UH. I came across pursuing mechanical engineering from most of the research I did, from my past, and just everything to this point. Thank you.
All right, good job. Is it presentation or presentation?
Yes, it's lowercase presentation. There it is, just select. And the password is presentation.
Very secure.
Yes. We have to know to spell. Yeah, that's sure I can keep you up there. Google her name. What was your topic? I'm gonna search for that. You shared it, right? Did you email it or share it from the Google Drive? So she wants to send notes over here.
So what you got first function F11.
Function F11.
Click on the top of the tab. Click on the tab.
Mojo, why don't you just
And then the function.
What? All right, Margot, everybody, here's Margot.
Hello. For those of you who don't know, my name is Margot Pushari. Okay, and today I'm going to be talking about accessibility and the legal system. First, I'll be talking about my junior project and what I did last year, my driving question, my internship, my strands in my research, and what I plan to do next year. So for my junior project, I did an internship at the Maui County Public Defense Office, which is located in Wailuku. And so I worked with Danielle L. Sears, and she's basically the supervisor over there. And the days I spent in the office, I would basically just follow her around and I'd do paperwork, or one of the things I got to do was I got to transcribe body cam footage. I can't really say what was on there, but it was some crazy stuff. And then the time that I spent in court, they brought me to court and I would just sit in the audience and I'd listen and I'd watch, and it was very conversational, so I learned a lot and it was interesting. So my driving question for this year is, how are students able to engage in the American legal system through mock trials, and how are they able to apply those skills in other settings? So this year I wanted to focus on being able to actually experience this myself rather than sitting and witnessing it. And so I went to Mr. Reeder because I didn't know what to do, and he suggested that we form a mock trial team, which is what I did. And so for my internship, I worked with Mr. Ralph Pice, which is, hello. And so basically, these are some of his accomplishments. And so we just worked with him, and yeah. So basically, we competed against other schools. We played lawyers and witnesses, and we were either the defendants or the prosecution, depending on the other schools that we went up against. And through this, we learned a lot. And so the case that we worked on, that we were assigned, was basically about a student named Kieran Taufiq, who was allegedly kidnapped by a club sponsor, Jaden Sinclair. And before joining the club, Kieran was extremely antisocial and didn't have any friends. But after joining, they had a lot of friends, and they basically didn't want Jaden to go to jail. So it was very messy, and depending on like I said, and we had to review the evidence and play different roles, and it's very conversational between the lawyer and the witness as well as the judge. So my first strand is skills and development. Public speaking basically provides an opportunity to practice talking and advocating, which can be useful in like many different settings, such as this presentation. Next is critical thinking. This requires everyone to analyze evidence and think critically about their arguments and the points that they want to make, and to make reasonable judgments based off of the facts presented. And often we had to think quickly and adjust our talking points and our questions depending on how the other teams reacted to what we previously said. Next is teamwork. It's a collaborative effort. You're working with a lot of other people. Unlike a real courtroom, you're working with a bunch of other people. So you need to be able to create a flow and tell a cohesive story. Next is time management. When you're up there presenting in the mock trial, you're given a certain amount of time, and you have to use that to fully tell your story in the amount of time. Sometimes it's too much time, sometimes it's not enough. So these are important skills, especially for students, because you're able to utilize them both in this environment and in others, so it's good to have transferable skills. Okay, next is accessibility. First thing is demystification, basically allowing students to become more acquainted with legal language, processes, and procedures, and it makes the courtroom a lot less intimidating and gives a general idea of what to expect if you're ever called to court in the future. Next is empowerment. With the skills and knowledge learned, it gives students the ability and the strength to advocate and represent for themselves both in court and out. Next is civic engagement. Engaging in the community is highly stressed at Mountain Prep, and to give back, to volunteer, and mock trial programs encourage students to be more engaged and involved in their communities. Next is education. It makes learning about the legal system at a young age less intimidating, and as I said before, it makes it easier to navigate. And while researching for my paper, I found a study titled Mock Trials Giving Homeless Kids a Feel for the Law by Josh Chetwynd, and basically the study focuses on students of lower income and borderline homeless and how they're able to engage in mock trial programs in their schools, and how they're able to gain new skills that they implement elsewhere into adjusting their situation, as well as find a career that they want to pursue with positive support from mentors. My next strand is opportunities. First is networking, which is students are given opportunities to work with judges, lawyers, and other legal professionals, and this can lead to future career opportunities such as internships or jobs. And personal growth, going back to the study I mentioned earlier, personal growth can mean working your way from borderline homelessness to graduating law school, or it can mean participating for experience or a sense of accomplishment and satisfaction. It can mean many different things depending on the person, and having the ability to learn in a hands-on environment thoroughly deepens interest, especially in like a real world context. So my future plans for next year, I will be attending Sarah Lawrence College in New York. I'm going to be majoring in journalism and anthropology, and I'm actually not going to be pursuing a career in law, but going after being an investigative journalist. Thank you.
All right, John, we've got a lot of videos here.
Yeah, but there's only like
Okay. And then
I was just talking over that.
okay, yeah, no, that's fine. What do you want to start with, this thing? And then,
Oh, yeah, no, the videos are in this.
they're embedded in it.
Yeah, they're on this.
Okay. Do you want speaker mode up here so you can see the military?
No.
Do you want to be able to see what's on the? Oh yeah, we don't. Slideshow.
Yeah, it should be like off here.
Do you want to be able to see this from this video? All right, Mr. Dylan John Pete, everybody.
Good morning, everyone.
everyone. So my name is Dylan Jonke, and my senior project is focusing on criminology. Thanks to Margot, she dove into one of my topics, the mock trial competition. And this binder, I can have you guys pass it around. It includes everything from the mock trial competition, but I'll dive into it a little bit later, but you can just dive in and look at that. So getting started, I'm going to dive into my teen academy that I participated in last year. It's a 2-week academy, and I'll be talking about all the different aspects to this academy. Then I'll go into the mock trial and criminal law, and then my last round will be the island versus the nation. So how we as my police department compare to that of other police departments throughout the nation. So here, these are going to be videos of what happened during our training. So to start things off, we went through physical training and like arrest self-defense tactics. This is in the Kihei Police Station. And what we're basically doing is a 2-week program where we're constantly being put to the test. So I know right now it doesn't look like that much, but we were put through like rigorous training. There was times where we would wake up in the morning and not do this and run 4 miles around the War Memorial. We were put through many like physical training aspects that are just designed to push us to the limits. Because this program is designed for kids that are 14 to 18. So it's really basically like targeting anyone of that age, and they're really testing to see what your boundaries are in order to further like push your limits, because I'll dive into what their main motto is for this program. But basically now you're looking into our like special response tactics that we learned. So it wasn't just physical training. It was also different tactics that we use that the police force will actually use. So this right now is demonstrating the riot special team, the SRT special response team. So we basically, you can tell it was a fun time, but we were basically, we were training how to defend in a riot scenario. And we went through different trainings just like that as well. But this is, now we're diving into like the learning aspect to it. So not only did we train and learn what these officers are doing to become officers, we also learned the different tests and equipment that they use. So this is just the motorcycle test that they use. So if you want to be an officer, you're also given the option to take this role as a solo bike officer, and you'll get a bonus from that. But you need to be a certain rank of an officer in order to do that. So here you can see that we're also working with the fire department. It wasn't in the video because this is from a CD playing of the My Police Department Teen Academy video that they created. But we worked with like the fire department, and also a really cool opportunity to work with the EMT. And I was able to get CPR certified in only an hour. So that was one of the coolest parts to the academy. And then lastly, so this video might be graphic, sorry about that, but this is just to showcase how they're putting us through these different scenarios that are designed to push us to the limits. And this video is showing us the different equipment. This is specifically the SWAT team that we worked with. But this video is catering to a simulation that we learned about firearm safety and what to do in different scenarios. And we're even able to speak to the screen. So there's a guy running the computer, and you'd basically have to talk to the screen in these different scenarios. And if you didn't say the right thing, the outcome would change. So this could lead to scenarios where people get harmed or injured. But if you're able to say the right thing, then you're able to prevent that without using any enforcement. And then here we're looking at the K9 units. So during this is at the Wailuku Police Department. So we're able to work with the K9 unit. So all different aspects to the police department that we got to witness and go through. And then lastly, I'll dive back into this later, but this is unlike any of the training that we went through physically, but this is our work with the Court of Law. So this is Judge Cahill, actually. And we got to work with him. We got to see real life trials and cases. And we also got to speak with the judge as well as other lawyers as well. So this is their motto basically throughout the whole program is to be comfortable in the uncomfortable. So again, going back to pushing boundaries and limits, what these officers were targeting was that we break our boundaries. It ranged from anyone that was 14 to myself, who was the oldest in this academy, as well as girls and boys. It was open to anyone. But there's definitely individual aspects to each and every one of us that we were uncomfortable with, and they would target those things in order to break our boundaries and push our limits and become comfortable in the uncomfortable. So their teaching method is discipline. So we're highly enforced to respect all the officers. Every day we were required to stand up, greet the officers, and basically like pay our respect to the officers. If this wasn't met, it was a very physical torture that we went through. But we had to basically do physical training more and more if we did not respect the officers. But by the end of the program, we were on it every single day. And it's definitely the biggest aspect to the police department. So now going back to pushing limits, so we had to break the boundaries of each individual. And then obviously, you might not have seen it in the videos, but it was very intensive with rigorous training. So now diving into the Court of Law. So this is, as you can tell, like all the law aspects to criminology. So you have your patrol officers, you have your different units that are constantly within the community that are serving justice. But this is where the law is really enforced. So you have your 4 types of law going all the way from the constitutional laws down to your common laws. So this is just a background of what the law is used for in criminology. Now diving into our mock trial competition. So hopefully you got to see the binder and the contents of it. But this was MagPrep's first ever mock trial team. These are the champions for this year. And we won 4 of 6 matches for our first time, which was pretty incredible. And constantly throughout this mock trial competition, we were switching sides from prosecution to defense, as well as something that not many schools did was we changed the roles. So some days you'd be a prosecuting attorney, and some days you'd be a witness. It would all depend on what you were up to or like what you wanted to do for that competition. And it was basically a simulation of realistic court cases. And then that instant, it was the kidnapping of Kieran Tawfiq. So you have your suspect, Jaden Sinclair, and these are the different roles. So defense and prosecution, you can see how they change. So if it's defense, you're trying to raise enough reasonable doubt. You don't have to prove that he didn't do anything. You just have to raise the doubt that Jaden Sinclair didn't do anything that is worthy of conviction. Whereas prosecution, you're trying to prove that he is guilty. So that's why we have those pieces of evidence in the back of the binder to bring to the judge and show that Jaden Sinclair is indeed guilty. Or for the defense, we're going to raise enough reasonable doubt. We don't have to prove per se that didn't happen. Now you have Cleo Tawfiq. So she was the parent, but she played a major role. So if you were in the defense's perspective, you wanted to basically portray the parent as a bit overboard and too protective. So this basically undermined all the statements that Cleo Tawfiq shared. Whereas prosecution, you're trying to back her up and basically enforce that she is telling the truth and everything that she is saying is reasonable evidence against Jaden Sinclair. Then lastly, we have Shay Reynolds, who is the detective of the case. So if you're the defense, you're trying to prove that he was unprofessional in his investigation. For example, he didn't talk to everyone that was there that night, and he had previous encounters with the suspect, Jaden Sinclair, back in Ohio a few years back. So there was a lot of bias coming from Shay Reynolds as a detective, which would definitely be unprofessional. Whereas prosecution, You're trying to basically avoid the fact that he is biased and just prove that these facts line up straight to Jaden Sinclair. So it's a really cool opportunity with the mock trial competition to learn about criminal law. So lastly, we're going to go into the investigation. So what basically changes Maui Police Department to what I used was Los Angeles Police Department, so other departments in the nation. And what you'll see is that Maui Police Department and the police departments of Hawaii focus on the spirit of aloha, and that is something that is different from any other police department in the nation. So both are, going towards the safeguard and protecting and serving the community. But Hawaii has this aspect of aloha that definitely emphasizes the police department as a service to the community that's better for the people because of how tight it is with the people. So how the Maui Police Department is so connected to society definitely plays a role into the trust with the police department from the public. And here we have the officers in the United States of the nation, and this is the officers in Maui Police Department. So it's a much smaller number. However, because of our small community and how the officers can serve and protect such a small community, it creates an establishment of trust with the community and the officers. So it's definitely a major role with the spirit of aloha that the police department uses. And now we have the task force. So these are your different career options that I listed. There's many more, but these are probably your most significant roles throughout the task force. So starting off with your officers. So this is your yearly salaries. So this is ranging because, like I said, you can take on other roles. So you can be an on-duty officer or you can be a solo bike officer. So it changes in salaries, and then you have your different sheriff, sergeants, your chiefs, forensic investigators versus detectives. And now a little bit more of the specialized units throughout the police force. So you have your mechanic and motor pool, so the people that take care of the cars, your dispatcher are responsible for calling your 911 calls, K9 units, DLNR, SWAT, and your speed team. So there's definitely different roles throughout the police department that you can pursue in. And here it shows your salary, how it changes throughout the years. So how much service you put into it definitely plays a role. And the more you serve, the more money you're receiving per month for your salary, as well as these are your additional pay, payments that you can have. So overtime or special duty responses. And then a lot of benefits through joining the police force. So you have a lot of retirement benefits, educational reimbursement, and then you get compensation with taxes. So withdrawal of federal and state taxes from any contributions, and then medical and dental coverage as well. So this is me after finishing the Teen Academy. So this is our Chief of Police, Chief Peltier. And this is the substitute for Mayor Victorino. And then this is one of our officers that we were able to work with, Officer Laga, who was a part of the junior program that they established. And these are all the students that were in my class for the Teen Academy. And so basically, how this can affect me, so the career progress. So what I started off with was research, so learning about different programs and different opportunities that you can pursue. And then jumping into that internship / experience, so that would be the Teen Academy, just putting yourself out there, seeing if you really enjoy this field or if it's a potential career path. And then your outreach this is probably your most important key to finding your career. So applying your learnings and experience to better push yourself into a career path. And then lastly, you just need to commit to that path that you choose to do so. So here is what I created was a little flyer that can be posted. So basically a recruitment flyer that can be used to be applied to anyone from 14 to 18 for that teen youth program, to anyone up into older ages of 21 if you want to join the actual police force, no matter what role you want to be in the department. So these are your ways to get involved. So if you are interested in the Teen Academy, there is next year. So you need to apply by April 15th, and you have 2 sessions. They're 2-week programs, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, from 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock. And you have your first session June 5th to the 16th, and second session July 10th to the 21st. And I definitely highly recommend this, even if you aren't interested in the police force, because it's definitely an eye-opener about basically how you perceive career paths and how you persevere yourself to push yourself to the limits. So enrollment process, so you'll apply to submit the form, and then you'll do an interview, an oral interview, either at the police department or through Zoom. And my biggest advice is be well dressed. One of the students was well dressed, and it was definitely a standout to the Teen Academy, and they were definitely emphasizing to be well dressed because it's definitely a way to put yourself as like a good portrait. And then lastly, show up. So this was a part 2 of the Teen Academy where we had 3 students sign up and then they never showed up. So this is part of just committing to the program. At first, from the information and context that they provide for what the Teen Academy will be, it might be a little intimidating for some. But if you just show up, you'll realize how amazing this program was, and you definitely enjoy the process that you go through. Thank you.